if someone joins in before we actually share the link, that would be pretty creepy.
Yeah, it would be good.
No good creepy.
Oh, a good what?
It would be creepy.
Oh, creepy.
Well, this is also being recorded.
Oh, great. I'm just gonna...
Guys, we're just gonna put this, keep it going, and just send out the link to you guys so there are no last second technical issues. We'll try to be nice and not say anything bad.
Yeah. Oh, there's one person on.
Probably me.
Oh, right. Okay.
Well, guys, I think people have started joining in. We're just going to let this run for the next 5 minutes or so and start once a few people have joined us. So no action in the next 5 minutes or so.
I'm having a bad hair day. Just trying to make it pretty for everyone. Okay. Hi, Dawn. For anyone that just jumped on, I sold Dawn some paint. She came into the office, and that's what she means by that. That's the pale. We couldn't even say it when she was in, but that's the green color that we helped her get. some more people.
Hi Emma, that's me.
Oh. Oh, wow.
Alright, I think we can get started. Oh, we've got 14 people now.
Cool.
Cool. I'm assuming some of my emails hit you guys now. I sent out a big email. Cool. Alright, we'll get started. So the theme today, and just learning from the first live webinar on YouTube that we did last week, I will not mumble. I will speak slowly and loudly. Please do tell me before we start if you can hear us, so we can increase our volume accordingly. So what we're gonna talk about today is, as most of you know, that Sarah and I, we were in Sydney last week, and to attend the pop-up exhibition that Ben Tankard, Belinda Nadvi, and Katlas organized, along with us. We'll try and move this a bit closer. Feel like this is the iPad that's not really helping us here. We'll try to be a bit louder. I'm hoping that this will be audible now. Yeah, so we visited Sydney and met a lot of artists, and it was such a good time. Our volume is very low. No, it's a mic problem with this. That's okay. We'll try to be as loud as possible. I think one easy solution the last time a lot of people did with volume issues were, if you can use an earphone or a headphone, that would be much better. I'm just going to move it here so they can see this. Okay. Cool. So just talking about the Sydney pop-up, it was really good to meet a lot of artists there, and it was really a lot of fun. It was really good to put faces to names. We have been talking to so many of you guys for so long and actually haven't met you. It was really nice. Thank you for coming along, to all the artists who came down there and said hello. It was genuinely nice to see you guys and talk to you in person. We're gonna talk a little bit about what we learned from that pop-up, the feedback that we had. We have a bit more clear understanding of about what is important and what we can do, and we're gonna try and do more. So we're gonna touch base on that a little bit more. And we'll try and keep this webinar quite short and simple. But after the Sydney pop-up roundup, we'll just touch base on a few things that led from our talks and our conversations with artists in Sydney. And it sort of made us realize that we've had chats about this before with artists as well, and we'll just touch base on that fact as well. But do you want to give a small roundup?
Yeah. So Shraz and I, we caught a really early plane. I don't know if we're starting here, but I'll start here. So we were pretty tired by the time we got to Sydney, but we got to speak to Ben, Belinda, and Kat individually, but probably Ben the most because he had been there most of the day. And then it kind of kicked off later in the night, and we were overwhelmed with how many artists showed up. And it made us realize that we really need to do more in terms of engagement with you guys. And you know, one thing that we learned from this as well is we might want to organize sort of artist meetups, because I think what happened at the exhibition, there were so many people and they had so many questions. We didn't sell anything on opening night, but that's fine. I think it was like we couldn't really give the buyers the attention they need. So we're definitely talking about maybe hosting something. Obviously our office is in Melbourne, so we're hoping to maybe do a meetup and put on some nibbles and some drinks and really meet everyone that can come. And you know, if that goes well, then we'll probably look at doing it in other states too. One thing that was really important, and which we don't get to hear much of, is how much feedback you had for Bluethumb and how it's changed your practice and how good we are. And we never really get to hear that, so that was like awesome. And I know this might be tooting my own horn a little bit, but that means a lot. And if you guys can give us feedback, positive feedback, it really
or
helps.
Negative.
Or negative. But the positive especially helps, you know, like sometimes we're a bit at a loss, and it was nice to know that, you know, we've really helped, and that's a cool part of our job. That's a really cool part of our job, and something that we didn't hear much of and had a lot of at the pop-up.
It helps us narrow down on what is working and do a bit more. Like, for example, the engagement part that Sarah was talking about. So we're going to plan and do more where we can actually get to see you face to face and talk to you one-to-one rather than just online or over the phone.
Yeah. And another observation was like that there was really a community of artists in Sydney, and I think we want to build on that. And hi Fiona, where we want to kind of go is like really be partners with you guys and not so much a platform. So we really want to, and I think doing sort of more engagement with everyone, we could become that, and that's super exciting.
Yeah, a lot of things that came up in talking to artists face to face is individual issues, which are quite easily resolvable, but because because most of the communication is online or over the emails, it's sometimes hard to understand. Simple stuff like, career related issues or pickup related issues. Some things work for some artists. If something works for 70% of the artists, from our point of view, it's working. But obviously 30% of 8,000 or 9,000 artists is a huge amount. So we also need to understand what's not working. And sometimes issue is quite simple, and it just needs a bit of attention from our side, which has on certain occasions not been there, but it was good for us to learn that we can quite easily just resolve that. And we'll keep doing that from here on. I'll just touch base on career related issues a little bit just in the end. It's not a huge thing. But yeah, thank you again for all the artists who came in to see us. It was great. You guys must have seen photos floating around. Like Sarah said, we woke up at 3 a.m. To get down there. Bye, Ashna. We woke up pretty early, so we were pretty tired, and we had to wake up again at 3 a.m. the next morning. So, if we said something we shouldn't, please pardon us.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you want to start, or should I just...
I will go last, and you can go first.
Cool. So a couple of things, and it won't be a lot, and we'll just try to keep it quite simple. But please feel free to ask questions. Oh, someone's answering on our behalf.
I think it's ready.
Oh, it's ready.
Yeah.
So a couple of points that I wanted to touch base is artists actually in Sydney. A lot of artists asked us some genuine questions about how they can do better on Bluethumb, and it made us think that some very simple things that we think are clear or like are sort of apparent, but they might not be. So I think it's important if we just reiterate. A lot of you guys might already know this and are already doing it, but simple things like something that's really important on Bluethumb, especially for artists in terms of visibility, is how active you are. And we do say that in different articles and stuff, but just put simply, what that means is how often are you logging in to your account? How often are you uploading artwork? How often, even if it's sold or it's not available, how often are you updating your profile? Even if you're just browsing through and favoriting a few artworks and following, it's just your activity. How that helps is when people look and search for artworks or artists on Bluethumb, the way our search and popularity algo works is it rewards people based on their activity and the frequency of their activity, how active they are on Bluethumb. So that definitely helps. So stay active on Bluethumb. I know for a lot of artists, that you guys, paintings take a lot of time, and you might not be able to upload something new every week, or even like a couple of days a week. So that's absolutely fine. In that case, something quite simple that we tell you guys is upload a work that's not available or already sold and mark it either inquire now or unavailable for a while, what that does is it just goes through the new feed, or just searches and keeps your profile afloat. And even if people are interested into it, even if it's not available, it still starts an engagement with the buyers. And we, at least that's a lead that we can pick up and sort of work our way. If there's no activity, if your account is not active, it just sort of gets pushed down because of how many new artworks and stuff are getting uploaded. So being proactive, being active on Bluethumb is really important. Again, with that comes the consistency of uploading artworks, which is really important, because what we have seen is people, collectors don't just, it's almost never impulsive that they buy something. They come to the site for weeks, scroll through the site, see what's going on, see who's selling, see who's uploading what, see the consistent styles of artists and what they do, or even like different styles that artists have. And a lot of buying behavior comes from that, and it takes quite a lot of time as well. So just being consistent in the way you upload your artworks is also really important. One thing which is a bit sort of, it's not, I'm not sure if it's the right thing for us to say or not, but if you have uploaded an artwork, say for example 3 months ago, it hasn't sold, feel free to delete it and upload it again. It goes through the feed again. It will lose its favorites and views, so be mindful of that, but it still at least will come in front of a lot of people who haven't seen it before. So that's just one simple thing, but I'm hoping that you guys get an idea of what I'm trying to tell you here about being proactive. The other thing which Sarah already touched on is treat online platforms like Bluethumb as your partners, rather than seeing them as rather than just seeing them as online platforms or sort of like a avenue of sales. Treat us as partners in terms of when you are promoting your work. If you have your own website and if you sell through your socials, that's great, do that. But a lot of time you don't know what kind of a buyer will try and buy your work, so they might have different preferences. Some of the buyers are happy to contact the artist directly on Instagram or wherever and try to purchase it, but a lot of them do want more assurance of a third party. So always try to keep things consistent, and with your online platform where you sell at, try and not sort of compete with them in terms of sales. Rather just put all the options out there, and just so that you don't have to make a decision based on the buyer's preference. They can make their own decisions at that point of time. Just makes it really easy for them. Another thing that came up with just talking to a lot of artists in Sydney was we realized that some of you value, based on which stage you are on in your artist career, some of you value time more, and some of you value where you're getting your sales more. Sort of like it's a matter of being time poor or money poor. So it gives us an idea as well as to the same service might not apply to all artists equally. So the same service might not apply and work for all the artists separately. So that's something that we've learned, and we'll try to implement a way where different artists who are in different stages of their career, we can provide them a better service which applies to them more, a bit more specifically, I guess. If out of all my rambling, if it doesn't make sense of what I said, please do ask questions. But what we are going to do from here on is, after our webinars, we'll try and publish a small little article just noting down all the points that we touched on, just so you guys have something to quickly read later on if you want. It will help us keep a track of things as well, and it will help you, and it'll make it easier for you to ask questions based on what we've said. Cool, over to you.
I think so. Just generalizing Sydney. I wanted to apologize because there was a lot of people there that I didn't know. And I think that's mainly because I'm looking at your work all day and not your photos. And so I do apologize that I wasn't great with names. I haven't known to a few people, but I thought I'd apologize publicly. It was just freaking awesome. And it really made me feel like I was a part of your success. And that was we I guess because we are online, we don't get that face-to-face contact, and it's so much better having a conversation with someone in person than it is online or by email or on the phone. So a few things that also became apparent to me, and what we're going to try and implement in future webinars, is to get artists on here and interview them, or sort of not interview them, but maybe have them talk about their practice and what works for them and their successes, and how Bluethumb works for them. And that was something that exactly what Shiraz was saying, like some other people use us completely, well, not use us, we're friends. But the way that people, what they need, like, it's so different. And it was really great to have those conversations, and I think we can all learn from each other. And so maybe interviewing artists or getting artists to come on and do the webinars would be great for you to grow. And so that's something that we're hoping to do with the future of our webinars, and really create and really emphasize sort of this community. And I think this is something that also came up on at Sydney, and I was talking to someone, and they talking to someone, and people are really worried about their sales, and they feel like if that there's just too much art. And I'm getting all tongue-tied, but this, from us to grow the Australian art market, we all need to be on each other's side. And a sale for someone else is great because that's supporting someone and supporting art, and we need to change this scene. Like, that's what we're aiming to do. And I think we should be encouraging each other and working on this community that we have, and we've got, like, it's freaking awesome. And and I'm rambling. But yeah, so I think we're going to put more emphasis of us being a partnership with you guys, and also the community that we have within Bluethumb. So, and that's what I'm going to say, and I'm done.
I think, yeah, I agree with what Sarah is saying. And essentially, we are a business, and we are driven by sales. But overall, the reason why, the main vision that Bluethumb has and the co-founders had, is to create a market and generate that kind of confidence for people in Australia and overseas to be able to collect by online. It's something, obviously, it does happen. You think it happens a lot now, but we don't see so many. There's a whole generation of people who do collect and spend probably a lot more, but they just are not confident enough to do this online. And that restricts them and the artists of Australia in so many ways, because they can only do so where they can actually physically view and visit. Anyway, so the goal that we work with, is essentially to close that gap, is to just sort of keep on doing what we are doing, support and sort of work with you guys and close that gap as much as we can.
And it's working.
And really get there.
I think it's working.
Yeah. Another thing that we did talk about, and probably talk about a lot with you guys, is just about how featured artists are selected.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes it feels like, it's not very easy to answer that question. But I do want to say, and I did say that to some of the artists in Sydney as well, is that it's not really it's not something that you can say, oh, there's a checklist, and if you do this, you're a featured artist. It's difficult that way because there's a team who does the selection at Bluethumb. It's not just Sarah, it's not just one person. The team in Melbourne and Adelaide, we consider the artist, what their profile looks like, what their activity has been, how they, how your digital marketing works, how you behave, like how long have you been on Bluethumb, how is your behavior towards Bluethumb, how is your activity, and how's your response, and all those kind of things are considered, and that's how it's chosen. So if you think you have been doing the right thing, please do let us know. Like, feel free to use the chat feature, send us your profile, just give us a nudge. We'll consider your profiles. Look, it's not something, we're not trying to restrict anyone from getting there, but obviously it's a curated part of the site, so it has a selection process, and it's not based on just some certain set of conditions, so it's handpicked pretty much. Cool. I think that's all that we have today that we wanted to talk about. So I think we do have some questions here, and we'll just go through them, but feel free to put in more questions if you guys have. And if nothing, like I said, if anything didn't make sense, please do ask now or later, either way. Right,
Volume. The volume.
Capricosm. I don't know your name.
You have to read the question out.
Yeah, no, but no, it's just a comment on that. They found the couriers great, which is really good to hear. I know a lot of artists, a lot of you guys won't agree to that.
Yeah.
Hello, howdy. Yes, so Haley, it is okay to delete artworks. Like I said, be mindful that your views and your favorites will be removed, and it will be put on as a fresh artwork. In order to keep the link same, delete the artwork first and then upload it again, so that the artwork URL will stay the same. So what happens with that is, if that particular artwork has been featured anywhere, or you shared that link anywhere, that link wouldn't change. So even if you re-upload it, it will those old links will still work. The other thing is, if an artwork is marked as sold, you can't directly delete it without requesting it with us. So if it's marked as sold, and if you want to remove it, do let us know, and we can do that for you. John said that he has deleted a bunch of artworks. That is really good, John. Yeah, like in that article, like we mentioned, it's good to have a sharp, crisp portfolio rather than have 300 works, which half of which you even yourself don't like.
And just on that note, from our data, we can see that the first 2 pages are the most important, so they're the most looked at, and then people tend to drift off after the first 2 pages. So definitely strongest works at the top, and you want it to go down, and that should make sense.
Pedram Rafati, you have a question, but I don't understand. So question is, if updating the price or any other item on artwork will bring it up.
I think he means make it, like publish it again on the site.
Oh yeah, okay. So if you just publish, so when you change the artwork, just hit save artwork or update artwork, and it will publish the updated price.
But I think he might mean, will it put it in the new art feed again? And no, it won't. You have to delete it and then redo it again.
Yeah, thanks, Emma. Yeah, artist interviews will be a good idea. We just have to be better at giving a better notice to artists, so it's not a surprise to someone, and they're prepared.
Yeah.
Forgot to post this questions with form. After a sale is done, do you receive feedback from the buyer? If so, there is a Maria, we do sometimes get feedback. We send emails out to buyers when they've received the artwork and passed the 7-day return policy, and it's surprising, and it's a bit sad as well. Like, we receive hardly less than 10% of replies. People, usually. So most of the times, if someone's happy and everything's gone as expected, they don't get back to us, which is kind of a good sign. So it's more like no news is good news. But sometimes we do, sometimes they do send us photos of the artwork hanging on the wall or something like that, and then we share it with the artist, and we do put it up on our testimonials page as well.
Maybe actually I might just address what Gillian said, and not in a bad way or a negative way, but like a lot of things are going to come up in life, and to like, you know, you're an artist, you know, sometimes things aren't, and I try to say this to a lot of people, is like sometimes things aren't going to go the way you want it to, and that shouldn't stop you from creating and doing work. Being featured, I know a lot of you feel like that gives a lot of visibility on the site, but we've had people say it's mixed, and I really believe it's what you put into Bluethumb, and going back to how active you are and everything like that. Like, there's featured artists on Bluethumb that haven't logged in 6 months' time, but you know that they won't be visible because they haven't logged in 6 months' time. So don't let featured or not being on the new art page, don't let that affect you, because that's just one small thing in the giant scale of things. Like, you're an artist, you create work. Don't let anyone else let you not do that. Like, don't do that.
That was a pep talk.
That was a pep talk.
Emma, so if you delete sold artworks, so in our records, we still know how many artworks you've sold, but on your profile, it only shows the amount of sold artworks that you have uploaded. So if you delete a sold artwork, the number will go down. And Fiona had a good idea about webinars in terms of inviting specialists of, people who paint, or like equipment companies, to talk about things and sort of, give a bit more idea on their products and sort of like ideas, and we look into that, Fiona. Yeah. To be honest, the way we do these webinars is not ideal at this point, because we just need a bit more planning. Yeah. Given that we're a bit short-handed at this point of time, it's just, we just really, it's a race against time for us. So we do want to make these webinars into something really more helpful for you guys, and eventually, like at some point of time, we'll start taking suggestions and ideas for the topics as well. Yeah. But the very next future goal that we have for the webinars is to invite artists and let them talk about their practice and how Bluethumb and online platforms work for them. Because we understand that artists in different stages use online platforms and different services differently, so it'll give you a really good idea of how that goes for everyone. Answer Chris's single artwork to be sold. Christopher, at this point, no, because the site, Bluethumb site, originally is designed for original artworks. So we don't, at this point, we don't have the option where you can list the same thing in different pricing, like a lot of different websites have, where you can sell them for different sizes and framing and all that kind of stuff. No, at this point, we don't have that feature. But what you can do is, in your artwork description, you can write down, say, for example, if you have a canvas that you are open to selling stretched, unstretched, and framed, so you can write down those 3 different prices and just say, just mention that, ask the team at Bluethumb, and then we can do that instantly. So say, for example, you've listed something originally as stretched canvas, but you can also sell it unstretched or with the frames. Just list those 2 prices as well, and just say in the description, ask Bluethumb team, and if someone wants to buy it framed, we can just immediately change the price of it and put the sale through. So there wouldn't be any lag or delay in that.
Yeah. The progress on new categories. So I know a lot of people write in and say, add a floral category. It's being worked on. Like, it's not an easy project. It does take time, because this is something that's been formatted into the site for quite some time. Melissa's onto it. We're hoping by the end of the year. Yeah. We're hoping by the end of the year. If everything goes to plan and we don't have any bugs and disasters.
It's more from the development side, like from the coding side, it's not that much of a work. Rather, it's more work because when we have more than 100,000 artworks now.
Yeah, we have over 100,000.
102,000 artworks on Bluethumb which are uploaded. So the problem that really comes with categories or introducing new categories is, how do we keep that cataloged? And not just the database issue, but rather with tracking and sort of like the analytics that comes with it. It's the main pain point, so that's why it takes a lot of time for that to be configured, and that's why it's taken such a long time. Capricosm, no. So you can also wire is preferable because it's stronger, but if you do want to just put a string, like a nylon strong string, just make sure that it is strong enough to hold the weight of the artwork.
I have also Julian. I have a lot of US followers, but can't comprehend the dollars aren't USD and completely lost RE sizes. We do actually have a US button. Down the bottom of the page, you can actually elect to see the prices in US.
No, you can't.
No, we changed it.
No, you can't. We made the site quite. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I thought that
No,
used
we
to be
did.
like that.
It used to be like
used to
that,
be like
but
that.
we changed it because we've streamlined it just so that the currency is just Australian dollars. It helps in two ways. It keeps everything in one, so there's no confusion between us, the artists, payouts, commissions, all that kind of stuff. B, Australian dollars obviously are lower in value than US dollars or euros, so it makes it much easier for international buyers to actually buy something and even spend a bit more in Australian dollars rather than if they have to spend in US dollars or euros. So what we do with international shipping is it doesn't affect you in any way at all. We simply add on a shipping cost when people choose a different country on the final checkout order page. So if you want to give it a go, you can go to the checkout, change a country, add something to cart, and you'll be able to see that there's a shipping price that's added. We need to rework that a little bit, so those international shipping prices will change, but it doesn't affect you guys in any way. So we just add that on and we use that to ship. Most of the times the amount that we add on is less than the amount that we actually spend for international orders, especially if the artworks are bigger, but that's fine at this point of time because we're still trying to expand into the international market, so it's a bit of loss is fine. Expressionism.
Yeah, well, the categories are happening. They're happening, guys. They're happening. They're coming. Don't worry. You'll have them very soon. Haley, there are a few teething problems with regular upgrades. I know it's not ideal and happens, but could you please explain how much work is involved to have your platform run smoothly? That's not Shiraz's question. It's not a sad question.
Haley, there have been a few issues. There have been a few issues on the site, mostly because, like I said, we're a bit short-handed because Melissa's on leave, and a couple of our development team members are on leave as well. So in the tech side of things, the team who looks after if the site's working smoothly or not, it is me. And the development team who fixes the issues. So things have been a bit slack, but they won't be after the coming week because Melissa will be back and the rest of the team will be back, and then we'll start running smoothly again. We did the leaves now because we didn't want anything to happen near the Christmas time because it's quite busy. But it does take a lot of time because the more we expand, we have a huge project running in the background, which is quite interesting, and we can't talk about it that much at this point. But we have a huge project running, and it is taking a lot of resource from us, Melissa's time, my time, the team's time here, and our developers as well. Well, no, not really. We were waking up at 3 a.m. We can continue doing that.
Most of the things actually push through in the middle of the night or early hours of the morning.
Anyway, what I was saying is, what was I saying? So it does take a bit of time. So when something, a bug as we call it, is found, like for example, you guys found something on how the sorting feed wasn't working the other day. I'm sorry, I didn't comment on that, but I did read, and it is fixed. It was fixed the same day in the evening as well. But because, I was saying that because we have that huge project working, smaller things sort of get pushed away a little bit. But we do get to them like as soon as we can, because the bigger project sort of takes priority because that's on a deadline, but we'll get there. We're almost there. Please Jillian, I think I answered that question from Maria. With feedback from buyers, we ask them after every sale, but like I said, a lot of people don't get back to us unless something's wrong. If they get something and they're happy with it, they're fine, you know, like they don't get in touch with us at all. But we do try and get in touch with them and ask for photos of the artwork on the wall so we can use it for our testimonials as well. We've just done our setup with Google reviews, the authentic Google reviews, not just the reviews that anyone can post. So these reviews go out to the buyers every time they make a purchase, and Google sends them a review to do after every 10 days, and they can post about whatever they want to post, how their service was. So this is a completely authentic and honest thing. So if someone's had a bad experience, they will post about a bad experience. If someone's had a good experience, they'll post about it. What this does do is it takes the filter that we are between the buyers and the artists. So you will be able to see these reviews coming in the next couple of weeks directly on Bluethumb as well. So I'm hoping that will help.
Yeah, there's about a 3-week delay for them, isn't there?
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. From paper cutting.
What a pack of marketing paraphernalia. Could you please produce an adhesive stick on card where the artist can write the details for your painting? Capricosm, we do have a thank you note and a certificate of authenticity that we send out to artists, to feature artists most of the times. You can purchase that on the Bluethumb Art Supplies things. It is not a sticky thing though. It is just a sort of like a certificate that you can write on, but it does help. Thank you, Capricosm, for appreciating our service. Paper cutting art, it would be great if you have the option to upload video on profile banner. Eshelsoft, sorry.
Yeah, there you go.
Eshelsoft, about being able to upload video on your profile or a header. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Be mindful that the site is primarily made for original artworks, and I know videos might be a bit more sort of engaging in terms of works in progress and all that, but I wouldn't, like, at this point it's not in the pipeline. So regarding my first question, is able to share customer feedback? Goodbye. Yes, Christopher, like I said, we do ask the buyers. If we do get a feedback from them, we share it with the artists, but sometimes, most of the times, we don't get anything back from them, and it's a bad experience if we hassle them for it.
Yeah.
So if they happily get back to us with the feedback, we share it with the artist.
And then if people do email in to us, we 100% send it on to you, because we know that makes your day as well.
Also, just you guys should know that we do get a lot of random feedback as well, from random people, because it's a public site and anyone can say anything. So we don't pass on stuff that is weird.
Yeah.
Cool.
We don't.
Cool. Glenys has a question about her recent sale. Glenys, probably just ring Vincent maybe, or Altair Via, or I can ask them to give you a call back. I'm not sure what's happened there, but we can get to the bottom of that. Are the artists that have had work seen in Peter, I think yes. A lot of people, especially for expensive artworks, they do want to see it in person. That is a bit of a challenge at this point, especially if they're interstate. If they're the same state, we facilitate the buyers to be in touch with the artist directly and see their work in person before they buy it. And that's why we have the 7-day unconditional return policy, where we cover the return costs and all that as well. That's part of it. Yeah, so they can actually get to see the artwork, in real life. It does help.
I just saw Haley's question about opportunities in WA, and I am happy to say that I'm from Perth, and I love telling people I'm from Perth because we're the forgotten state. And we have talked, like, I go home every few months and I have I'm thinking of setting something up so we can meet up Perth artists. So we'll keep you in the loop. Probably next year. But very excited to meet all the WA artists.
What we did in Sydney, and what we're thinking of doing in Melbourne, we will start doing in different cities as well. So, for example, something like Sarah can go to Perth for a while, work from there, meet you guys, do that. Given how small the team is, it will take a bit of time, but we will try to do as much as we can here. I'll just quickly address Christopher's question about linking your site. That's a really good question, Christopher, and that's why we want different artists to come here and talk about it. And when we say something like this on a public platform, it sounds a bit sales pitchy. But you will see that a lot of artists who do really well on Bluethumb don't have their personal websites at all. And
or that they use it like a CV, so they don't use it for sales. They just have all their work there, but you can inquire through them, but they prefer.
So that's when we talk about different artists in different stages of their life, and I was talking about being time poor or not. Artists who are time poor, artists who are selling more than they're actually painting, they put up their websites, but they link to different platforms that they sell through mostly because we just do all the work for them. So artwork sells, couriers, shipping, delivery, payment, everything is taken care of, and the artists don't have to think about it. So if you are thinking about linking your site to Bluethumb, please try it. I'm quite confident that it will do really well. The other thing it will really help you is, I've said this before, our popularity algo works, and it incentivizes artist profiles based on how many backlinks they have from different sites, the way Google works, something similar. So if there are links from your websites to all your socials and your socials to your Bluethumb profile, it will give your profile and your artworks a bit more push in terms of searching.
And just to touch on that as well, is we get a list of people that actually link to us, so we know who's linking to us. Another good reason to do it is when people are viewing your website, they want to just keep looking and researching you, and if they go to your Bluethumb profile, we actually target them then with your artwork ads. So once they leave Bluethumb, they start seeing your artwork on Google and Facebook, all these sort of other sites, because our advertising just stalks them. So it's a really good idea to keep for a way for them to keep your art in their minds as well.
Yeah. I'll answer Belinda's query as well. She's asking, is it detrimental if you have your own online shop and offer the same artworks on your site as well as Bluethumb? It depends on how you are marketing your website. We spend a lot of effort, and you will see that our marketing is quite superior. So if you're trying to compete with Bluethumb in a way, then it will create a conflict with the buyers. But if you are advertising the same artworks on Bluethumb as well as your profile, just keep them both linked. Mention, give the option, tell the people who are on your website that the same artwork is also available on this platform, this platform, this platform. What that does is, it's not about that you will lose a direct sale. Rather, it's more about giving the buyer a confidence that this product is not just available on this one particular individual website. Rather, it's also verified by Bluethumb, by another art platform, and it gives them the confidence to go ahead with that purchase. A very important thing when you're doing that, when you have the same product on your website and your website has a checkout feature or a purchase feature, is to keep the price that the people, that the collectors see of your artwork on Bluethumb and on your website should be the same. Given that Bluethumb works slightly differently probably from your website because we include the shipping costs in it, make sure that you also have the shipping price included and there's no additional costs when they actually go to the checkout for shipping, because just from a user experience point of view, when the price changes even slightly at the checkout, the purchasing confidence takes a huge hit. and people don't like it. Having a consistent price throughout is like, if they see the first price they see should be the only price that they should be, you should be charging them. They shouldn't be paying anything more after the first thing that they've seen. It's really important in terms of sort of the impression that collectors get. I hope that's answered that question. I think I went on a tangent there. But I don't think it's detrimental, Belinda. It's just a matter of how you're marketing your website. Just keep everything equal. Keep everything, give them all the options. If they want to buy through your website, that's absolutely fine as well. And just make it easy for them is the answer.
Yeah. So Melinda from Melbourne, can we send in ideas for newsletter themes? I know many collectors use color themes, and I sold an art when it was in a color theme newsletter. Definitely email help@Bluethumb. We send out three newsletters a week to collectors. So we are always looking for new ideas. So definitely email them into help@bluethumb.com.au, and we'll make sure it gets to the right person.
Tom Robson, Tom, that's something that the sales team has been requesting the team here for quite a while. But in the meantime, just get in touch directly, either help or chat or email me or Sarah, and we'll generate a code for you. That's absolutely fine to do.
Just on terms of linking and everything else, there's this, so Instagram only allows you to have one link in their link box. I'm not explaining as well. There's this great sort of not platform, but website called Linktree, and you can put the Linktree link in that, and then it will take the users to another page where they can click different buttons for different platforms. So if you want them, you can have your website at the top, then your Bluethumb profile down the bottom, then maybe your gallery, I don't know. But Linktree, if you've got multiple links and multiple ways to share your art, look into it. It will make everything a lot easier.
Yeah. Cool. Donna has a question about limited edition prints. So if the originals say sold and you are selling prints, will the link confuse them then? If you're talking about link from your website, you can update by just saying limited edition prints are now available because the original sold. If you're talking about your Insta, you can update those links. Or I think it's just easier, unless you're advertising one particular artwork, it's easier to link to your profile directly so people can land and see. But say, for example, you've just posted a new artwork on your Instagram, then you should update your Insta link to exactly that artwork. So if someone likes it, they can just directly land on that artwork rather than landing on Bluethumb and trying to search for it. Yeah, free returns and unconditional free returns where we offer to pay return postage as well. It does make it quite easy for people to take the chance of purchasing it online.
So
Linktree,
yeah,
spell Linktree.
I'm glad you're all on Linktree. After 3 entries in Adelaide, lots of compliments but no sales or awards. My artwork sold in only 6 days, regional New South Wales. All right, so that's a compliment. Not a question. Yeah, so this is we have a great reach, Bluethumb, and we're really just starting to sort of break into the international market as well. And there's something very special about what we have through Bluethumb and through the site. It's like a consolidation of all these great artists within Australia. And I think I'm just lost my train of thought, but yeah, that we are hearing stories from people that, that they love this artwork and they're now able to, buy it, and they live in a regional town. Or a great thing as well is like we're actually getting regional artists selling work, which is huge. So I don't think that there was anything that, hopefully you learned something from that. I don't know if you did.
Cool.
Yeah.
I've posted the link to Linktree in the public comments, not in the chat, but in the comments down, so you can have a look. Can we advise people what we're doing outside in our statement?
I think this is something that's also been coming up a bit lately. So your profile and artwork descriptions, if you've got upcoming exhibitions or if you're working on a new project, like that's what those areas are for. And that's fine to talk about, but having links that lead towards, you know, other sources, other platforms, that's not something that we condone. And I'm not sure if that's exactly what Dawn's trying to say. You are allowed to mention the work you're working on and any awards your work may be in or galleries, but as long as you don't have a link to those sources, that's fine.
I will answer. Kitty, so there's no average amount of time it takes for someone to sell on Bluethumb. It's more about the marketing that you're doing, the visibility, you know, how often you're posting, and if basically just a matter of someone saying, that's what I want. So we see popular artists or, you know, new artists selling straight away, and some take time. We've had artists who are really popular now, but they've been with us for, you know, a couple of years, and then they didn't sell much in the first year or so, and then their career just took off.
Yeah.
So it's all a matter of just being consistent in what you're doing, and it's all about relentless marketing, social media marketing, just whatever you can, networking, just keep doing it. Don't think, I did it for a month, nothing happened, so I'm going to stop now. It doesn't work that way. Especially
with art, like people do tend to take their time to purchase art. Like I've got things sitting in my cart on Bluethumb that have been in there for months, and people really like to sit on arts because it is an emotional decision to make and an emotional investment.
International shipping costs are a killer.
Has been, yeah, they
Absolutely.
are killer.
Just before this webinar, I had a spreadsheet open which had the amount that we've spent on international shipping and the amount that we actually had allocated, and we obviously did not gain from that transaction. So I need to report on that. But we do work with DHL and have a business account, so we do get good prices. Probably get about 40% less amount than you would if you ask directly from DHL. Give them a lot of business.
Yeah, just to touch on that as well, as like earlier in the week earlier last week, sorry, an artist, she found an international buyer and she just didn't want to deal with sort of the trouble of insurance and everything else, so she sent him through us and we did it for her, and she still got the same amount of money, and the buyer got his artwork, or he will have his artwork by now. And that, if you guys are too scared of international orders, like, we're more than happy to look after it for you. And
Dawn, that's a compliment to us if you're saying that you're a Bluethumb artist.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, hello, Pauline.
Little
I was just about to say that's all. I think that's the end of the questions, and we probably will end this webinar. But if you have any questions, Pauline, we are happy to stick around for a few more minutes. We just about to hit the 1 hour mark.
Yeah.
But
please
still
keep
happy.
It longer.
But we're still happy.
Yeah.
As we're happy to stay here because we don't have to work.
Oh yeah, we don't. We get to chat.
Cool.
I think that might be it.
I agree with what Jillian's saying as well. The most successful artists are those who constantly paint and list. It's not about painting, it's not about, at least it shouldn't be about sales to begin with. But yeah, it's just being consistent and being active. Peter, there's a link in the public comments section. If you scroll down on this video just a bit more, you will see a comment on there with a link to Linktree, so you can just go there directly.
And if you still can't find it, just email us and we'll send you the link personally as well.
All right, guys, we'll sign out now. We will try and put an article in our FAQ sections based on what we talked about today. And please do write in if you have any questions at all. Peter, that's okay. We'll just use the chat feature on Bluethumb, and we'll send you the link in the next 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Mendo,
a sale.
Yeah, so at this point, we don't have the feature where you can have a discount code that you can generate overall. But do ask us, and we can generate a code for you that you can share on your social media and all that kind of platform.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Cool. Thanks, everyone. And we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. I'm going to stop this in a second. Yeah.